When it comes to making friends and influencing others, smart nations know that they need to show off their softer side. Instead of flaunting military might or doubling down on nationalist rhetoric, the countries that have done well in our 9th annual Soft Power Survey have leaders who make time for their counterparts. At a time when many relationships are in flux and nations are reassessing where they stand on the world stage, soft power is more important than ever. Join the Conga Line to find out where your nation stands.
2018 has been a difficult year for Brazil. Unless political chaos and corruption are addressed once and for all, Brazil's international reputation will fall as fast as its economy.
India's space program is gaining traction, but on the whole its soft power hasn't made the impact one would expect. A concerted effort by the government could do wonders.
The Austrian Cultural Forum, with 30 branches around the world, is a smart way to capitalise on one of the country's biggest strengths. Yet Austria has hit a diplomatic rough patch as the country's right-wing coalition government turns increasingly inward.
The Republic of Ireland continues its march of progress. After legalising same-sex marriage in 2015, the country voted to legalise abortion in 2018. The vast diaspora is still enthusiastically promoting national culture abroad.
Singapore has long been a bustling business hub that attracts players from around the world. But censorship holds back culture and media, which unfortunately means that there's little to make waves about abroad.
It's a boon and burden to Belgium that Brussels is the capital of both the country and Europe. Over the past year, the city played host to a series of dramatic Brexit talks. But Belgium is more than just Brussels. More attention should be paid to charming cities such as Antwerp and Ghent.
With some Western nations disavowing globalisation, China has taken up the mantle of championing economic cooperation worldwide. On the other hand, some of China's infrastructure expansion has been met with suspicion. The aggressive approach chimes a little too closely with its approach to military power.
Norway needs to push on with its peacekeeping missions. It has recently gone quiet after soaring success with its involvement in negotiating the FARC peace deal in Colombia.
Playing host to one of 2018's most publicized political powwows between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin allowed the Finns to flaunt their feathers on the diplomatic world stage. More quietly, the country's education system is excellent.
The European home to the likes of Netflix and Nike, the Netherlands is a country that is open for business, but the anti-tourism stance embraced by the capital doesn't give the Netherlands the friendliest of faces to visitors.
South Korea got an early start on splashy diplomacy this year, as Pyeongchang played host to the Winter Olympics in February that saw athletes from both North and South Korea walking the opening ceremony together. South Korea has long proved the value of exporting its culture as a soft power strategy, and it's nice to see formal diplomacy is catching up.
Danish design is still the byword for cool. The country is still a superstar when it comes to churning out extraordinary TV dramas, but it hasn't been completely rosy at home this year. A burqa ban led to protests and negative headlines around the world.
Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has proved he's more serious about diplomacy than his predecessor. In just a few months on the job, he has made a concerted effort to get FaceTime with counterparts around the world. At home, the chaos following the Catalan independence vote has calmed down, but underlying tensions remain and could boil over again.
Italy's new Eurosceptic anti-immigration leaders haven't been doing the country any favours on the world stage. In spite of who's at the helm, the nation's culture and cuisine continue to give it a good name. Meanwhile, Milan is making its pitch to woo businesses spooked by Brexit.
New Zealand continues to punch above its weight, largely thanks to its charismatic Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. New Zealand has boosted its foreign aid spend by almost a third, with funds primarily going to the South Pacific region. The country is a choice location for Hollywood films, but could improve its own cinema output.
In Portugal, sun-seeking tourists and foreign investors are more than welcome, but the country needs to spread the word that it's no longer just a sleepy spot to catch the sun. On the world stage, the UN Secretary-General, António Guterres, is one of Portugal's soft power superstars.
The US has fallen in our ranking directly and indirectly due to Donald Trump's combative diplomatic relations. The good news is that much of the world realizes that the US is about more than this administration. Sadly, reports suggest that there are fewer foreign students than before.
Australia is in need of a shake-up to remain an attractive proposition. A sporting snafu when members of the men's cricket team were caught cheating against South Africa was a humiliation. Yet it wasn't all bad for sport diplomacy this year. The 2018 Commonwealth Games allowed the Gold Coast to show off its best side.
One of Sweden's biggest soft power assets suffered this year when the Swedish Academy announced that, for the first time since 1949, there would be no Nobel Prize for Literature awarded this year. The announcement followed on the heels of resignations and allegations of sexual misconduct and malpractice. Elsewhere, however, the Swedes continue to shine. Big brands such as Volvo and IKEA thrive.
Brexit has continued to hurt the UK's image on the world stage. By positioning itself as an opponent of the EU, the country comes across as antagonistic, chaotic and undiplomatic to the rest of the world. In spite of its political class, sports spectacles such as the Premier League and Wimbledon draw in devoted fans.
Switzerland is a nation that understands the power of an enduring brand. Watches, pocket knives and Helvetica are all tangible shorthand for Swiss excellence. The country is known for its political and economic stability, making it the perfect place to host major events such as the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos.
It's been a tough year diplomatically for Canada, though some troubles were of its own making. But Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland did many things right too. Between the G7 meeting in Quebec and the renegotiation of NAFTA, Canada managed to safeguard its own interests, while also highlighting its commitment to protecting global stability.
Tourism to Japan is booming, and as the 2020 Olympic Games approach, Japan is preparing to host even more people by improving infrastructure and building hotels. Political stability has continued under Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, though the resistance to accepting refugees hasn't eased. The country's culinary prowess and design continue to appeal, and cultural recognition is extending beyond anime and J-pop.
Angela Merkel has taken a hit at home politically. Yet she remains, along with Emmanuel Macron, the face of European cooperation and liberal cosmopolitanism. Though Merkel will step down as Chancellor in 2021, it's important to remember that not all Germany's soft power lies with its leader. Germany is still recognised as a bastion of efficiency, its economy remains strong, and it has a great quality of life.
And finally, a newcomer at number 1. A soft power offensive and sporting success sent France to the top. Though he's facing tough times at home of late, President Emmanuel Macron has spent much of his time in office touting the importance of France's place at the heart of Europe and on the global stage. With the 2024 Olympic Games being awarded to Paris, the capital is preparing to be in the global spotlight. While challenges remain at home, it's unclear whether Macron's concessions will pacify protesters. France has a lot to cheer about on the world stage, even off the football pitch.